Today I want to show you my automatic villager converter. Converts villagers to and from zombie villagers in a way that makes it as easy as possible to convert lots of them. So here it is, this mess of a build. I designed this in a modular sort of system so that you can take each piece and kind of adjust it and place it where you want in the world. First we'll go through this really quickly, each module, and then I'll show you a survival world that I've kind of shoehorned this in. So here's the villager breeding chamber, which will feed into like our holding area. This is a design from Impulse SV on the Hermitcraft server. I changed the design from Impulse SV's design, as when villagers wake up, they'll spawn on top of the beds. That's a valid waking up spot. Above the beds, I added trapdoors and glass as a change from his design in order to prevent villagers from spawning on top of the beds. They will now only ever come back into the hole where they can breed and not do anything else. This is a fairly easy design to automate with water streams. So all you would need is to pull carrots or bread or whatever your food of choice into this block space here, and at least one of the villagers will be able to grab it from the corner, and then they'll share it between them. This is still considered valid, even though this block is here, as transparent blocks do not prevent villager babies from thinking they can spawn. So both of these designs here will fall down. The babies will fall down into the water stream and be moved on to the villager holding chamber. This is a fairly simple part of the design. Minecart will be dispensed here or placed or anything, and they'll move through and grab the villager. This block here can be replaced with a dispenser or something like that, which will allow you to send minecarts along their way. The most important part about the rails is that it moves up into the curved bit here. This will grab villagers pretty much no matter where they are on this block space. The second part of this design is the Villager Trademaker. Here, what we want to do is we have a small little room with a piston that brings it up. I'll explain that later. And we see our villager and we're like, hey, have this job. And then he has the job. And then we can flip through. Oh, knockback 1, I don't want that. And then blast protection 1. So we're like, okay, blast protection 1, I want that. Let's see if I can fumble through my inventory here to get a emerald. There we go. I actually want the bookshelves. And now he's locked in. So we're like, he's ready to go. I'll hit this button and send him on his way. So here, oh, there's supposed to be a zombie in there. Whoops. We're ready to send him off into the actual converting process. So we'll hit this button here, which will launch him away. And what we send him to is the zombie. This is an etho hopper clock, which will keep him there for a certain amount of time, and then send him up around to a holding chamber. Now, I will very quickly fill this up, and we'll come back when it's filled. Alright, so we now have our zombies in our little holding chamber. Now this, you'll generally want to take it up 4 zombies tall, which will be about 6 blocks of space from where your rails are down to this little drop thing here. Essentially how this is designed to work is you have all of them in this little Pez dispenser style thing, and you want to throw your potion. If I can find it quickly, it's probably in the potions. So, you want to find your weakness potion, and you want to throw it in the middle of this stack, and like the middle. So if there were 4 zombies up tall, which, if I had built it correctly, that's where it would be, you throw it up there, it hits everyone from the bottom all the way to the top, and then you'll feed them all golden apples. Now because this takes 2 minutes or so, we have a bit of time to then move on to our holding chambers. Now this holding chamber is based off a design from Azuma Void from the Hermitcraft server as well. And what we'll do is we will hit the send all button here. I'll explain this in a moment. Now we send out a Pez dispenser into their next holding cell. And then we can do this again, send all. It moves these guys forward 1 holding cell and these guys into that holding cell. And now we can patiently wait while these guys change over to the next or change back into villagers, and we can check their traits. In the meantime, I'll kind of explain how this whole thing works. So of course we have all these holding cells here, because whenever a villager is next to a zombie, obviously the zombie's going to attack it. This happens even in the Pez dispenser. Also, whenever they're sitting in this Pez dispenser here, when they convert, they'll all kind of collapse into a single thing. So it's difficult, like a single block. So it's difficult to then separate them when you want to send them to the Villager Trading Hall. To explain this control panel here, I just have 3 separate buttons that do separate things. The signs are pretty self-explanatory. Send all will send everyone forward 1. And then we have blue and red. Now here I've color-coded them. We can label this whatever, but whenever this lever is down, whenever I click the send selected side button, it'll send the red side forward 1. And if I select the blue one by pushing up and I send selected side, the blue will go forward. Here, we can even test it right now. Blue is selected, I'll click send selected side, and the 2 zombies on the blue hand side move forward. Now this is all covered by blocks, that is why that they're not burning. I thought I'd let you know. So here's that system in a nutshell. The control panel is a basic, we just pull wires out. This is not compacted or anything. The selector here, I just use a basic gate here where if there's no block, the repeater cannot send redstone power through, but whenever the piston is extended, the block is here and the block is removed from here. So when we want to send all, it just sends down here to the 2 redstone lines that I have. It powers the redstone torches going here. You then send the power all the way through. I'll come back to you when these zombies are cured, and we'll see if their trades have decreased. And here we are. Our villagers are now all converted. And the one that we locked in the trades for is right here. 2 emeralds and a book for power 3. Not a great deal, but we made it happen. So, what we can do now is we can make sure that the 2 sides are even, and then we will send both sides a couple of times. Even though the villagers on a slope here, the stones button press is enough for them to come all the way up to the other side, and this is fairly consistent. Now, our villagers are at the end of the line. 2 emeralds and a book for power 3, I don't think that's a fantastic deal. So, we come to this redstone line here, which as a turn-off point. Now, if we turn them this way, they go to our villager hall that I am not going to be building. However, if they're naughty villagers, then we turn them the other way, and this minecart rail leads all the way back around, back into the villager converter. This is the important part of this design, is that it allows you to cycle through the villagers, very quickly and efficiently. So, let's send this boy back into the system. So he will then be sent back directly in, just like any old villager. He'll be attacked, hopper clock will move, and sent right back into the Pez dispenser. Notice we have a zombie in the Pez dispenser while they're still waiting here. Whenever we select blue or red here from the select aside board, it will only send the villagers in this waiting room. Thereby, we can pretty confidently move this villager in the red side here 1 spot over without messing with the Pez dispenser on the far side. Now, we can also move all of these villagers. All these guys are good. We'll clear out the red side, which will send him forward. Yeah, you're good. Epic. And then we switch over to blue, and we'll send these guys twice. And off he goes. And now, the send all button will activate the Pez dispenser, and he will be put into our holding chamber. Generally, you want to try and convert them while they're in the Pez dispenser, because that is what minimizes the splash potion of weakness usage, but we're in creative, so we can do this right now. So, that's a full overview. It's all modular, so we'll use the second half of the video to kind of go through each individual part, so that way you can build it yourself. Okay, first, we'll start with the villager breeding chambers. So, you want to have 4 glass blocks in a tube straight up. Oops. Here you have your slabs of any kind. You want a fence post there, and then you place the beds on top. This is enough for the villagers sitting here, that they see that they have these beds, and that they want to breed. Then, we just get our trapdoors around. Whoops. Bring these up, and then we want our glass blocks, which we will place next to trapdoors there. So we just hit this. Bam. Whoops. If I can actually pick blocks well. And there we are. This is a completed villager breeding chamber. Now, at the bottom of these 4 blocks, you can just break out and put water streams here to carry the babies away. Now, if you want to separate babies from adults, here, you'll just put a fence or a wall on the water stream. They'll come up and they'll stand outside of the water. And then they'll wait patiently till they grow enough in order to put their head in that water. And then they will carry themselves all the way down into the chamber there, the holding chamber. Now, if you're like me and you're like, oh, I'm going to be such an epic builder and use trapdoors, because I've seen, gamers use them as pipes. Do not use trapdoors, especially around where the baby villagers are, because if they're against the wall and they grow up, they will grow a half block or something, be inside the trapdoor, and then they're like, oh, I want to go this way, and then walk right out. So we don't want to be doing that. We want to use full blocks. I use glass just because I like looking at them as they kind of go around. But you can use any solid block, you can use any transparent block you want. I recommend transparent just in case their head gets stuck in, they don't die from suffocation. The second part of this converter is the Workstation Maker. So, when a villager comes in with a minecart, they'll be sat right here. And what you want to do is you want to have a small-ish room, just enough that you can work in, and you want to have something that closes off behind you. Now, I'll show you this piston-based design. It's just the pressure plate is right there on this block, powers this redstone piston, which just closes off the door. And villagers will not pathfind through a 1-block space, so it allows the profession to be taken up very quickly. I will not be showing how to build this. It's a 5x5 box with a piston. So, the villager will come in, you stay on the pressure plate, do the workstation like you saw before, lock it in, and then you press this button. Now, this button can be on either side. You can put it on this block, and then from this block you can pull a redstone signal away in order to power the dispenser. So when you push this button here, it'll send another villager through. This is part of the modularity. You can kind of do whatever you want with it. Next is this, the actual killificator. The detector rail here is to send an update to this piston. When this piston is updated, not necessarily powered, is when this hopper clock will be active again. So, they're put in here, and this redstone torch here acts as a NOR gate. So, whenever the clock is finished, the NOR gate will activate the powered rails, thereby the villager or whatever in there is very unlikely to get stuck if, for whatever reason, the system is clogged. So the minecart will go across the detector rail, update the piston. This etho hopper clock will run for the desired number of seconds, and then this NOR latch will make him go off. I found the best number for a zombie with a diamond sword or diamond axe with sharpness 5 is 6 items. For this test, however, I put in 11 just to make sure. And in my single player world, where I just have a zombie with an iron axe, I put in 12, and that seems to be about the right spot. You can mess with these items more or less to see however much you want or how safe you want to be. If you do get a villager in the piss dispenser, it kind of breaks the whole system. So I recommend being more safe than sorry. So once they're sent up here, they're sent to a very simple toggle latch, which will send them to the left and then to the right. This detector rail here is sent to a 1-tick pulse maker into a toggle latch made by a 1-tick pulse. So when a minecart goes across here, it sends the pulse to the piston, which extends the second it sees it, and that makes it to where there's only 1 tick where the redstone signal goes through. This repeater then grabs that signal and makes the piston push the block forward, and then when it retracts, it leaves the block there because it's a 1-tick pulse. That then powers this block here, which will switch between going forward and going to the side. This is good for 4 zombies, like I said. You just want to build this higher. Again, it's 6 blocks from here, so that's 1, 2, 3. Can handle 2. So you go 1, 2, 3 again, and then on this block here, we will quickly place that. Yeah, so this block here is where you'd want them to come in. You'd come in, and then they would drop. Now they're going to take damage here, but they should be totally fine because their health gets reset whenever they turn from zombie to villager and from villager to zombie. I also put chains in front. I wanted to use glass panes. They have the same hitbox. However, they connected to the middle and made it difficult to throw the weakness potions, so you just run chains along the top here. And now for the actual dispensing part of the pest dispenser. What we use is a simple little honey block attached to glass. You want to use transparent blocks here, whether it be slabs, stairs, glass, anything, so that whenever the block comes back, it'll crush their head. Because it's a transparent block, they don't care. This is on a simple... this uses a 1-tick pulse. The 1-tick pulse is created somewhere down there on a 3-tick delay. So this will send it up to a 3-tick delay. Powers this block, which powers this redstone, which pulses back and forth. You can kind of move this redstone around if you wanted. Again, it's like a whole modular system. This does not have to be right here. You know, if you wanted it to be down there, you could just run 2 tracks directly up, and it might look cool. Or you can have them go in different, different paths up to meet into the pest dispenser if that's your build style. But you can do it any way you want. So they're in the pest dispenser, and like I showed you, the control panel moves them forward. I'll quickly show you how we power these blocks here. I do this by 2 redstone torches. Just a double NOR gate so that we can transfer the redstone output down, and we just run a redstone line through all of these blocks. That's pretty much the whole system in a nutshell. What we'll do is I'll take you into my survival world, where I have completed exactly 2 parts of this, and I'll show you how the modularity can be kind of built into any build. So, welcome to my survival world, and here is my villager breeding. Right here is my villager breeder. I haven't set up any sort of automatic farm to it yet. I just haven't had the time or desire yet. So they come down into our little upsy daisies thing, and the babies will sit in this water stream right here without jumping up. And then they're sent all the way around. This will take them into this building, which we will, we'll quickly jump into. Now, the top floor of this building is where we have all of our villager things. As you can see, it's kind of cramped in here, but we have our villagers hanging out in this little area here. Oh, little boy. It's not supposed to be a little boy in there. I might have to adjust the my water streams. But we have our villagers in here. This is our dispenser where the minecart is shown. Here's our redstone line. So, this is all storage for that. The minecarts are sent over to our little area here. Now, I have all of the workstations here so that I can create whichever ones I'm like, I want some stonemasons. So I pop down a stone cutter, or I want a toolsmith. So I put down a smithing table and stuff like that. And we can go through, lock in their trades. I've only just started villager trading, so I don't have emeralds just hanging out. So, we press this button, it'll power this, send them away, and it'll bring another villager. This is the button I was talking about in the other world. This button also will just send whoever's here if I don't want to send another villager. So, this line comes all the way up and around and does a little S-curve, because I think it looks epic, into the second building that I built here. Oh, man. Whoops. Okay, well, we'll go through the front door. So, up on this second floor of this building, we have our converter. Now, this is pretty much the same idea. We have the etho hopper clock here, and this detector rail updates this piston. Now, of course, we've moved around the things a little bit, and this goes higher than normal, but it's all pretty much the same idea. Here we have our RS NOR latch, which then powers this block, which powers the rail. And we have our zombie there with our iron axe. And here we have our 12 items for the counting. So they go through, they sit here for not the equivalent of 12 items, but the equivalent of 24 items, because remember, it's an RS NOR latch. So they're chilling out for 24 items worth of time. The zombie kills them and then sends them on their way here. Now, this guy I just happened to convert as he's right here, and I'm like, oh, mending, this is what I wanted. So, just as my first villager, mending villager, not a bad idea. So the idea here now is that we bring these guys all the way over here, and then we can make our little Pez dispenser from the second floor here down all the way to the first. We'll have to bring them up and down, and then we can have our holding chambers on the bottom here, and if we wanted to send them back up. So this is the kind of modularity that you're able to build in because it's all based on like rail carts, you can kind of move the holding chambers or anything wherever you want. Also, with how the design is made, I could have the control panel be in another building. Like I could make another building to the right here and send the redstone lines in here, and I wouldn't even have to be in the same room as where the villagers are. Although I wouldn't recommend that because being able to see them is kind of important. So I'd like to quickly go through and give credit to all the pieces that I've kind of pulled to bring this whole thing together. Of course, as I said earlier in the video, this villager breeder cell here was created by Impulse SV from the Hermitcraft server. This is his original design, is the beds with the trapdoors here. And then, to deal with the issue in 1.16 where the villagers were spawning on top of the beds after they slept, I added this glass and trapdoors here. This villager holding chamber and workstation platform are designed by Logical Geek Boy. I took elements of his design, especially the pressure plate on piston here, in order to create this little area as like modular. This villager holding cell is based very loosely off of Hypnotize villager conversion from the Hermitcraft server, and I just made a few tweaks using the Etho hopper clock instead of just repeaters, and using a detector rail and a stronger stop and start functionality. This pest dispenser is also loosely based off of Hypnotize design, as he had the villagers in one tube, splashed them, and then sent them all away. This single villager dispenser here is my own design. This design is very loosely based off of Zuma Void's sheep holding chamber. The rest of this is my own designs. This will probably be compacted, and this could probably be placed in a 30 by 30 block space with all the functions that you need for this sort of like redstone build. This can also be as far apart as you want. This is the whole breeding and converting system. If you have any sort of questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to try and figure it out, or tell you you're dumb or something like that, Of course I try and help out as much as I can. This is something that I've been working on for the past couple of weeks or so I'm fairly comfortable with this design. I can help you out if you're trying to fit it in some sort of like small space build area. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.